Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next presentation. The presenter, Mr. Kentaro Dai, graduated from Doshisha University and used to work for national government and the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and then switched his career to IT industry as a web engineer, and then joined the company named Relic. At the present moment, he is involved in the development of infrastructure and the backend of iOS Android app Loupe, and also he is a member of a newly built SRE division, and then involved in the development of infrastructure normalization and speed up and generic subsystem development. And he is going to talk about development of cloud-native system linking Ruby and a public cloud. So, Mr. Dai, please. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kentaro Dai, working for Relic. As you see here, this is the title of my presentation. I would like to talk about neighborhood tips sharing app Loupe, and around that app, I would like to just present about cloud-native system development linking Ruby and a public cloud. And this is my self-introduction. Well, I would like to repeat my name, Kentaro Dai. I was born in Osaka. September 2019, I just wrote my first program in my life. And then actually I've been working as an engineer just less than 3 years. And Ruby is an ecosystem that is quite good for beginners in RubyWorld, and that was very impressive and encouraging to me. And yes, Ruby community is great. And then in my work, actually, I'm a real user mostly, and then others as well. As introduced before, infrastructure development and then generic subsystem development, that is a part of my business as well. And then I'm a member, I have an account of Twitter and Facebook and others. And then I just do something for personal development of the system as well. So why don't you just click this link as well. Yeah, this is the content I would like to cover in my presentation. The benefit of Ruby for new system development, and Ruby and a public cloud compatibility, that is a major or main topics I would like to cover. First one is about development product. This is the new Loupe named the app named Loupe, that is to share the neighborhood tips. This is like Instagram, and then the users can just post photographs and others. This is linked with the Google map, and then, so that means you can just set up this kind of different pins. And then user just set my own area, and so within that area, the user can just put a post or just discover new tips or information throughout the neighborhood. And then the communication within the neighborhood or community that can be just facilitated using this app. Actually, we use the program that is a new business creation sponsored by NTT 39 Works. And first, this is a new trend of system development. And actually, I work at the Relic, and then new business creation, that is a part of the main core businesses of Relic. And then so Relic is very strong at new business development, and then the Ruby is one of the tools we have or we use. And there are 3 viewpoints or 3 points I would like to emphasize about the trend of new business development. The product should be just developed over a very short time and high speed, and then from MVP P to full-scale commercial product, the consistent scalability is necessary, and then the use of public cloud, reduced workload and lower cost is quite important. And then application innovation, how to just create innovation as an app using Ruby. I think that is quite important and critical. And then just we would like to use the public cloud by separating them over the continuum of the system development. So this is the benefits of Ruby for this purpose. There are 3 points. As I said before, public cloud, integration of Ruby with the public cloud, and such a library is very rich in RubyWorld. So thanks to that, it is quite easy to just integrate the Ruby programs on a public cloud. And the second one is similar, but serverless computing, very good compatibility with the serverless computing, and then the quite a flexible scaling on application phase that is possible. And the Ruby style guide and Ruby on Rails, and the coding rule is well established, so oftentimes you need to just change the specifications or the contents of the businesses. However, you can do that while keeping the quality of coding. And in my presentation, I would like to focus on the first and the second point. The integration of a Ruby and the public cloud. Here, this is a kind of a summary I would like to cover in my presentation. Generally speaking, functionality and data analysis and execution. There are 3 categories when it comes to integration or linking of Ruby and the public cloud. And specifically speaking, a push notification and SDK and data linking, and Puma and Fargate and Sinatra. I would like to just cover some different topics. First one is push notification, delivering a system using Ruby on Rails. So Loupe is SNS service. So that means that a lot of push notifications should be delivered in a stable manner. And so Ruby Rails and API and Amazon database, that is, they are linked in order to just structure the infrastructure or build the infrastructure. So trigger is here, and the ECS, the Rails are working on ECS, the request is come to that. And then if you just do that processing immediately, then that would be just cause too much workload on the server. So a kind of a enqueuing and dequeuing that is conducted with Redis. And then Redis is working on worker, and then so Amazon SNS, just operations are done at each on a terminals, and then just send out the push notification to different endpoint. So by doing this kind of things, we can just achieve the quite a stable delivery of push notifications. And next is Ruby on Rails, Web API, and BigQuery. Here, user just post kind of pages, views, and others. That kind of data would be just collected and stored in this one. And then Web API that is created or written in Ruby. That is for that Google Cloud BigQuery that is used, and the GCP and Ruby that is linked. And as I said before, the public cloud integration library that is very rich in Ruby. So GCP data that is quite easily accessible, and then just formulated or analyzed and formulated like this, and then there is a very good management or monitoring screen. So that kind of information is quite useful, for example, come up with or develop marketing strategies. And the Puma and the cloud, quite a robust Ruby application building or development. And as I said before, Loupe is SNS service, and sometimes there may be some special campaigns and others. And then a thread management to request that is on or set on a Ruby ecosystem, and so that the handling with the many requests may become easier. And there are 3 points. In the case of Ruby, well, when you just develop application with Ruby, oftentimes you can use what you want to use Puma with a high processing concurrent processing capability or capacity. So linking these things, we could just establish the Ruby ecosystem scalable services. And then it is quite successfully possible to make the process or multi-thread building and make the request quite handling the request many requests quite efficiently. And then Puma and Amazon ECS auto scaling, we can just combine these things to just establish the system with a high scalability. This is quite a simple scheme here. This is the front end. The request comes from this one, and the Puma receive this, and then the forking from a variant process, and then you can just make necessary adjustment by just changing the settings, and then you can manage the number of workers and threads as well, and then the auto scaling can work depending on the actual scale of the volume of the data. And this is the rake task under Amazon ECS batch processing, and then pre-scheduled push notifications. In order to make that kind of process easier, we just combine different tasks, and conventional batch server is not necessary here. And then countable, that is set on server, that is not necessary. And public cloud and database containers, by combining these things, it was not so difficult. And this is a Fargate containers. And as you see here on the right, left-hand side, event bridge, and that schedule is just set, and then you can use the rake command, and that is a raise function, and the ECS in combination. So that's make the batch processing much easier. And the last one is Sinatra. AWS SAM side app development with Sinatra. This is a native app, so that means a post may be shared throughout the SNS. And the web application, there is no application as the destination of the linkage, so web app need to be just developed in order to handle this kind of a thing. And then we used Sinatra, and then this is a serverless application model. We combine these kind of things to just make the minimum implementation or implementation much faster and quicker. Here, this is a local, SAM is used, and Ruby's Sinatra Ruby application is developed, and then the images are just uploaded, and then app source that is created rather automatically, and the Lambda itself is a runtime Ruby supporter, and the Sinatra is add-on to that. And the rendering, the page rendering that can be just achieved on a web system. So Ruby is quite compatible if you want to just make integration with the different systems, and then that is quite scalable as well. And this is a summary. Yes, Ruby and a publication. Ruby and a public cloud. By combining these things, you can develop quite a stable functions at a low cost and low workload. And then you can use quite a rich library to just link that with data analysis infrastructure as well. And combining a Ruby ecosystem, public cloud, we can just establish quite a robust back-end server as well. And here we would like to just create new business development system using Ruby. And here this is a photo we took in Matsui Innovation Square. This square or site was newly just opened this year in Shimane Prefecture. Thank you very much. Well, I'm afraid that there is no time to invite a question from the floor. We feel sorry, but if you have a question, why don't you just reach him directly and then exchange your business card and communicate. Thank you very much. And please give another big hand to Mr. Dai. And that's all about today's program. Thank you very much for attending to the end of this today's event. And then if you have a translation receiver, please remember to return them to the reception desk. And then if you need a parking ticket, why don't you please come down to the exhibition hall of the first floor. Please remember not to leave anything personal here. And then we are going to have a free time session from 5 o'clock this afternoon, and this is for you to facilitate communication to each other. And then we are going to a second day of the event at 10 o'clock. We are going to looking forward to see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much.